Ready.
I will be your narrator this evening. On stage, we also have Stella Bird, Soleil Podesta, Dana Watkins, and Nicole Wyszynski.
I'm Soutine, born in the shtetl of Slimovici, Lithuania, the 10th of 11 children.
Michel Kikuin, the son of a banker from Belarus.
I arrived in Minsk in 1906. Chaim arrived a year later, joined me at the Kruger Academy of Art. He was one of the most brilliant students.
The most brilliant.
But the subject of his sketches always carried a certain morbidity. I served as the model for his final project.
You saw it?
I peeked.
And?
It was superb. It reminded me of a Courbet.
Ah, Courbet! Do you really think so? The great Gustave Courbet!
It was brilliant, but he was unhappy with my comment.
Pardon me? Something I must attend to.
He attacked the painting violently, stabbing it and slicing it repeatedly.
It was supposed to look like Soutine.
So true. He did not like comparisons.
George later commented,
This Lithuanian Jew belonged to a family of painters, which included Van Gogh, who was clearly superior to him, and Oscar Kokoschka.
Van Gogh, tawdry and sentimental. He should have had his eyes examined.
all in all, he led a life of poverty, hunger, worry,
And painting.
and painting.
Swarovski wants me.
We leave for Nice next week.
Niece?
To the glorious Mediterranean sun, to live and to paint forever.
How much?
5 francs a day.
Matisse wants me to join the academy.
How much do you have? How much do you have now?
Focus.
How much will you have if you join Matisse's academy?
Focus mit Kadachis.
Loosely translated, shivering shitballs.
Music, please. Ich bin a Schneider, ich mach Kleider für Menschen groß und klein. Nur die Hachnosse, die Parnasse, sie nicht wie's gewähnt. Geworden älter, schwacher, kälter, ich hab scheinbar keine Hand. Von mein Nein nicht Gott zu keinen, gar nicht auf keiner Hand.
Barnes is in town and he's in the mood to buy.
The collector?
Yes, the pulse is on, Barnes.
No.
What?
Cézanne will be forgotten in half a minute. Too cerebral. And if this Barnes owns them, he knows nothing.
He owns Picasso's too.
A swindler.
Well, not everyone can be Chaim Soutine.
That is so true. My paintings are shit, but they're better than theirs. And one day I'll destroy all of mine. But Picasso, Cézanne, they could never do that. They're cowards.
Of course they are.
Before he left Minsk, I asked Chaim, how did you learn to make pictures?
Mother, I've always made pictures. Even before I could walk or draw, I saw them. I saw the sunlight playing on the wall by my bed. It was breathing. I could feel and hear its heartbeat. I remember it as clearly as I always have and always will remember your face. I've tried to capture the glow and the heat and the heartbeat of that light ever since.
What did he call this picture?
Grotesque.
He's beautiful.
This is the book what Yaniv wrote about the exhibition and about the museum. As in Israel in 1937, kibbutznik, about named Chaim Adar, travels to Paris and came to Israel. He told, we need to have museum. And Yaniv is managing this museum, chief curator, and no question, the exhibition, not I the guy who's going to tell how good or bad, why I'm so emotional was to be in Israel this time, and to meet the people who involved in this project. And one more thing I want to tell. I have Soutinitis. You understand? This is my head. But we have guests who has blood of Soutine. You believe? His relatives. Real relatives. One of Soutine, no, I think two brothers of Soutine came to America. And please stand up, the relatives. Thank you very much. Really, I'm very honored to have in my house so important people. Let's Yaniv, let's start.
Okay, I must start. Before starting, just say a few words for the wonderful play we had. It was really amazing what you wrote and the way the actors played. And since Soutine is a lot of got to do with stories that we know by heart and went from people to people, from friends, artists, every story teaches you something new. So this act was wonderful, and thank you very much. Thank you. I'm the curator of the exhibition now showing in Israel. This is the catalog. Naked Soul, Chaim Soutine and Israeli Art. For the first time in 15 years. Okay? The last time Chaim Soutine was shown in Israel was in 1968. Why did we choose this term for the exhibition, to invent this combination? Naked Soul means to express basically what we see in each one of the works of the paintings of Chaim Soutine. When you're naked, it means you're exposed, you're vulnerable. That's what it means. And it seems like Chaim Soutine's soul was all the time in this place. But the big question is why to show Chaim Soutine in Ein Chavod, in this small, modest museum. Now it's an amazing story. Once the kibbutz members decide to send Chaim Atar with his casket, kibbutz member, to study art in Paris in 1933. I mean, yeah, it's hard to imagine. Now Chaim Atar goes to Paris, he goes to the Louvre, he sees Rembrandt, Cézanne, Van Gogh. He's impressed of all of these big artists, but he sees one more artist. He's alive in those years, works in Paris. His name is Chaim Soutine. Chaim Atar never met Chaim Soutine, but he sees what is happening in Europe. And there, 1933, when he comes to the kibbutz, he understands what Shmuel said. We must have a museum for art in Israel. Basically, it was historic responsibility of Chaim Atar and all of the kibbutz members to save Jewish art from Europe and bring it to the state of Israel. Because in Europe, those days, for Jewish people and Jewish artists, it's starting to be, how to say, not very pleasant. I start to work on this exhibition in Ein Chavod because of the reasons I told you about. And as I start working on it, I realized the unbelievable influence of our friend Chaim Soutine on Israeli art. 3 generations of Israeli artists, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 80s, that was influenced from Chaim Soutine. I want to show you one work, okay? One work. Again, you can see it after I'm almost done. This is a painting from 1950. What do we see in this painting of Yosel Bergner, this very important artist? It's very simple. We see a slaughtered ox. But next to this slaughtered ox, we see a watermelon. A watermelon, I must tell you, it's one of the very known symbols of Israel, of the new country. So Yosel Bergner puts a slaughtered ox, red blood, dead, next to this watermelon, which represents the red of the life. Life and death, Jewish and Israeli, past and future, there and here, it's in one small painting. And what is the title of this painting? tribute to Chaim Soutine. And all of this life and big questions of Yosef Berner is dedicated to this artist, Chaim Soutine, who never thought about Israel, who never had any emotions to Israel, never thought of coming to Israel. You think of it. A Jewish artist never painted one Jewish painting, but without doing this, expressed perhaps more than all the others. I mean, it's not me saying it, it's a very important Israeli art critic in the 40s. I want to say a compliment to Shmuel, okay?
Again.
When I started to work in the exhibition 2 years ago, I had no idea there is a Shmuel Tatz, Ben Chaim Tatz, and I had no idea about the Soutine. But since I met Shmuel, he's a very big inspiration, and I want to thank you for that. Thank Please, enjoy.